having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
How to ripen green tomatoes. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
Living in Florida, we have so much to celebrate. Awesome weather, top-notch universities and sports teams, a rich blend of cultures, and so much more. From fresh market tomatoes to watermelons, from snap beans to tangerines, Florida farmers grow an abundance of safe and affordable products that are prized around the world. So look for the Fresh from Florida label when you shop. Wholesome, delicious, nutritious. Fresh from Florida. Fresh to you.
The Environmental Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP, is a continuous sign-up program allowing landowners or operators to apply for financial and technical assistance for many types of conservation practices. And USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service in Florida has made it easy to get more details. Just log on to www.fl.nrcs.usda.gov. You'll find state resource concerns along with links to more detailed information on the overall EQIP program. Or you can simply stop by your local USDA NRCS office.
Even if the tomatoes you're growing are green, you can still pick them and after ripen them indoors, especially if you live in a region with cold weather extremes. It's perfectly okay to harvest tomatoes when the fruits begin to change color and soften to the feel. At this point, most of the carbohydrates and sugars that will be sent to the fruit are already present in some form, but after ripening indoors will enhance the flavor. Just don't harvest them when they're too small because they may rot. Take an average-sized tomato and cut it in half. If the gelatin holding the seeds is liquid enough that when you cut through the tomato the seeds move, then tomatoes of that size and larger will ripen. However, if your knife cuts the seeds in half because the gelatin around the seeds is not liquid enough to allow the seeds to move away from the knife's blade, then it will most likely rot before ripening. Place them in a paper sack with other fruits, such as a banana, that will release ethylene gas to help them mature faster. Some tomatoes, depending on the varieties and when they were picked, will ripen in a few days or a few weeks. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high of 77 to 81. Mainly clear tonight, low 67 to 72. Sun and some clouds Thursday, high 81 to 85. Then turning cloudy Friday with a thunderstorm in the afternoon and a high of 81 to 85. Looking to the weekend, showery weather Saturday afternoon through late Saturday night, high 78 to 80. Thunderstorms on Sunday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Just Shipped is expanding to its first retail location at the new Boulevard Market located on the corner of Bonnie Heath and 36th Avenue. Just Shipped will still offer the same all-inclusive services of packing and shipping your items. Don't want to get out of your car? You don't have to, because Just Shipped is offering curbside service. That's right, curbside service starting Saturday, November 7th. Go to justship.net for more information. Take the guesswork out of shipping with Just Shipped.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome to Ocala Talks. I am your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you live from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. One day after Election Day, the Wednesday following Election Day, and we know about as much now as we did yesterday. What I know is Donald Trump is still the president. He will be the president until January 20th of next year, but we don't know who's going to be president after that. But we do know who comes and joins us every day thanks to Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, and that's Galen Unall from Life South. We know he's here. Good morning, Galen. I almost said good afternoon. That's how sleepy and tired I am.
Yeah, you know, I my wife went to bed at like 9:30, and you know, at 9:30, I think we all thought, wow, my dog just went crazy. I think we all thought, all right, well, Trump's got this. He won Florida going away by 400,000 votes. This is going to be a landslide. And then the rest of the map just started filling in, and Arizona was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, Arizona, that was a big one. And the fact that they called Virginia so quick, but now they said, not so fast, my friend. Even though Virginia is still in the blue, Donald Trump saying, no. His people are saying, no, that's not true. There's going to be – is there any way this doesn't end up in the courts?
No, and I think that's exactly what the Democrats want, because the people who voted for Trump believe in the court system, right? As a rule,
right?
And then and Biden's people don't.
Well, I know that last night I went to bed about 1:00. When I realized it was at a stalemate at 238 for Biden, 213 for Trump. Still very close with Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina still to be called. And whoever wins those states wins the presidency. My problem is, but it's how the Constitution is, they left voting and the decisions of how votes are tallied and how voting is run in individual states to the individual states, because as I've said numerous times, the individual states, think of them as individual countries that we just refer to as states, that give through representation power to a central government, but they make their own decisions about how to do elections. And some of these states, people go, how are they still counting votes? They've had these votes forever. How are they still counting mail-in ballots? Well, there's some restrictions in some states that they can't start counting until actually the election day. And other states, correct, you can't start counting until the polls close in that state on election day. That's what Florida counts their votes as they come in. Florida made that decision. Correct. There's some states that last night at 7:01 p.m. their time is the first time they could start counting votes. Right.
And Pennsylvania being the biggest one that's in play right now. And again, I think, you can no longer look at Florida and what happened in the 2000 election. We are no longer the joke of politics in this country. We just aren't. I think, I think our whole state really realized, okay, we've got to figure this out, solve this problem. And I think we've done a pretty good job.
Really good job.
We had the election returns by, 8:15? I mean, it was over, but they just hadn't called it over. I guess it depended on which network you watch.
Right.
I'm amazed how fast, Arizona got called. With 75% of the vote in, and Florida 96% was in, and the only thing that was left was the entire Panhandle. And I'm like, have you ever been to the Panhandle? Yeah. It's as red as Marion County is.
100%.
That's lower Alabama, sir. And again, it's this kind of thing, and I think everybody who was on the Trump side knew not to trust the polls. Just knew. You cannot trust the polls. And then I think everybody else in the media who lives and dies by the polls is going to go, they didn't learn their lesson 4 years ago. They're not going to learn any lesson this year.
Well, I was watching, and I flipped around last night. I was watching OAN, I was watching Fox, MSNBC, CBS, NBC. I was watching all of them flipping around.
Sure.
And the prevailing thing was the big ones, NBC, CBS, ABC. They were like, how could these pollsters get it wrong 2 elections in a row?
Go ahead.
Here's my take, and I'll give you a chance. I've had friends of mine who are staunch Republicans that have called me this morning or texted me this morning. You don't want to know the anger that they called me with or the anger they've texted me with. How could this happen? I was so sure there was going to be this huge red wave. And I reminded them, there are people waking up in strongholds like California, Colorado, Maine, that are all going to be Democrat states, and they're waking up going, what happened? I thought there was going to be a blue wave. How could this happen? Both sides are not happy right now, and that means the American people probably will get it right. That's what that means.
Well, there's a couple of really good things that are going on. If you're like me and you just think the government is in your way, 99.999% of the time, is that the Republicans held the Senate and the Republicans picked up seats in the House.
100%.
That's exactly what we needed. And I believe the president doesn't impact my day in, day out life. He makes me laugh on Twitter. That's about the extent of it. And I love how upset people get over a guy who they don't even know and has no bearing on their life. I think that's hilarious. The other thing is, all these people who think that just because you're of a certain ethnicity, that you're automatically going to vote in one direction. I'm hoping we could just dispel that myth. Because when you look at men of color and how they turned out for the president, it's pretty astonishing. It's just astonishing. When you're picking up votes in Miami-Dade County for a Republican, that's crazy, right?
I mean, it wasn't even close to what he did last time. It was so far past how many votes he got in 2016, right. The amount of votes he got in 2020. I mean, but that's, again, a large part of that population of the Miami-Dade area that is Hispanic is Cuban, Venezuelan, and they've seen what socialism and communism can do.
Yeah. And I read something on social media, and I thought this was great. The same people who are complaining that the president couldn't get a test for a virus that we discovered, just in a second, and they want the test in 2 weeks. These are the same people who can't count votes in the same night as the election.
100%.
These are the same people, in Pennsylvania, the people who are running these elections. They wanted us to find a vaccine, which usually takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years, to find it in 3 months. They can't vote. They can't even count election votes that they had 4 years to prepare for.
And here's what
really since 1776 to prepare for.
Thank you.
We guess what? I know when the next presidential election is for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, it's 4 years from now for the rest of eternity.
Right. Well, it's 3 years and 364 days, or whatever.
100%. 100%. But it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that in this day and age, okay, I graduated from Georgia Southern University in Statesboro, Georgia.
Yeah.
I went to graduate school at Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina. We would take tests.
Beautiful school.
We would take tests, and we would use this sheet called a Scantron. Are you familiar with the Scantron, Galen?
Oh, of course. I'm a kid of the 80s.
Exactly.
Of course.
It's the bubble in your answer, the machine counts it, and it's done. How is that any different than a voting? And I had teachers that could get you your and it was only, a class of 320 students in a big lab class, but teachers could get you because with a TA assistant, with a grad assistant doing the grading for them, basically putting the Scantron in the machine, and the machine was preset to count. They could get you we would get grades on our test within an hour and a half. How is that not the same process as a vote? How do you not run that voting thing into a machine and it counts it?
Well, that's how they switched to Florida, right? They switched it to Florida. And you would have thought with all the early elections, then again, and I don't know, it really makes no sense to me. It doesn't make common sense that you didn't allow the votes to start being counted.
That you already had.
Now, I understand. Correct. I understand. Oh, you got to keep it secret. Fine. Just feed the thing into the machine and don't read the machine, right? Don't allow the machine to release the votes. That's not difficult. That really isn't difficult.
You know what that's called? You know what that's called? How Florida counts its votes.
Correct. So, again, we'll see what happens. I think this is going to the Supreme Court. I think a lot of these votes, again, Trump is now up by 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania, with 64% in. But they're not going to. They're going to count until there's going to be such a record turnout. There may be more votes than adult men and women in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, I think that people are already assuming that there's going to be more votes in Pennsylvania than there is population.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Gail.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know you got to take a break. So
yeah, we got to take a break.
Thank you, Penn Flooring.
Yeah, we got to take a break. Thanks to the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Gardens for sponsoring Galen Unall from Life South. We'll be right back after this timeout.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named, the man, the myth, the only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
That's right, it's Tom Schmitz on Ocala Talks. Galen Unall joining us on the phone lines as he does every morning. Brought to you by our good friends at Penn Flooring. Family owned and operated, serving Marion County for over 30 years. They're a full-service flooring company dedicated to finding the best solution for your flooring needs and having experience in both commercial and residential fields. They're located at 1201 Southwest 17th Street. Call them at 352-351-3420 or go in and see their spacious showroom. That's Penn Flooring. Also, we'd like to thank Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offered skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions about how Palm Garden can help you, give them a call, 352-854-6262. That's 352-854-6262. Go back out to the phone lines, continue our conversation with Galen Unall from Life South. Galen, you run a pretty good ship over there at Life South, and you got a lot of employees.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be okay. I was very surprised at how little Florida voters understand Amendment 2 and what it can do to the service industry and hospitality industry in our state. Mainly places like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, they're going to be okay because we're going to order from kiosk now. There'll be no more humans in there except cooking.
No, it's going to be a large impact to us. I mean, we have a lot of frontline staff that make less than that. And what I try to explain it is this way: the two places where this is going to hit, and it's going to hit really quickly, is our food costs are going to go up significantly.
100%.
And our housing costs are going to go up 30 to 40% on both of those categories. That's what's got to concern people. And one point I meant to make before we went to break is that Florida counted 11.5 million votes by 9:30. Let's say we'll give them till 10:30.
Right.
Right. Michigan can't count, or Pennsylvania can't count 5 million in 24 hours
until Friday.
They're saying they're going to need till Friday. Right. That's a problem. That's a real problem.
That's a huge problem. Marion County last night, I was following the Marion County Vote Marion website. Every 15 minutes they updated it. At 9:15, final results.
Right. Congratulations to ABC for getting the win.
Yeah, she'll be on the show today at 10:05 in studio.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I voted for.
So, me too. So
everybody I know voted for.
Can we give a great shout out to Wesley Wilcox and his staff for the great job they did tallying the votes in Marion County, keeping everybody informed of where the votes were, and getting it done in an hour where most people, if you were only interested in Marion County, you got a good night's sleep.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That is absolutely right. And the supervisor of elections, and if you've never been to an election down there in Marion County at the elections office, you should. To me, it's one of those civil social studies types of places. I think they should have class down there, and send students down there to watch it, because I think it's just fascinating, and it's so cordial and so much fun. And, especially some of these local elections where, you would think it would be, a civil war, neighbor against neighbor, but it's incredibly cordial. Most of the time, both of the candidates are there, especially in a tight race, and it's just a lot of fun.
Now, did you?
It really, am I right, Tom? It's fun.
Yeah. I've been there and witnessed the counting 2 different times, and it's always, it runs very professional. Yeah, my first impression was I was going to walk into a chaotic scene. That is 180 degrees away from what actually is happening. It's very controlled. It's very calm. It's a nice, everybody's in a good mood atmosphere, and they just go about doing their business and they get it done.
It's that simple, isn't it? I mean, professionalism. It's something we don't have enough of, and apparently in our politics. But again, I think that's statewide. I think, again, state of Florida should be proud. They got everything right except for the minimum wage.
We learned from the hanging chads.
That was a terrible. There's no.
We were a complete laughingstock.
No escape from that.
We were a laughingstock of the country in 2000. And it didn't help. It didn't help that Jeb Bush was the governor. George Bush won the election, so it looked like little brother cooked the books for big brother. I mean, it was just. It to this day still makes my head hurt when I think about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
And to think we learned from that lesson 20 years ago and run efficiently now, like you said, even with Miami-Dade, Broward, which take, Broward, remember in 2000, Broward was the hotbed of this. And remember they had the magnifying glasses out and everything, and they had a Democratic operative, a Republican operative, then an independent, and they were it was just ridiculous. Last night, Broward County, by 9:45, done. Miami-Dade, 9:15, 9:20, done. Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, done.
Yeah, Duval. Remember, and by the way, there are more people in some of those counties in the entire state of Pennsylvania.
By the way, the 11th most populous city in the country, number 11 in population city in the country, Jacksonville, Florida, 9:35 last night, done.
Correct. Yeah, and again, no rioting in our state. Nobody's in there questioning the results because we did it all above board. And in 2020 we had UN election officials supposedly coming in the county. That was not a good day.
Let me ask you this: you brought up no rioting in Florida. So last night there were arrests made at demonstrations and riots in Washington D.C. Of course, there were in Seattle, Portland. There's no outcome yet. What the hell are they rioting about? What are they angry about? There's no outcome. There's no winner. What the hell are you raising Cain about?
Well, again, I just think it's one of those, a generation that has become absolutely lost. And I talk to my boys about it, and I'm like, I don't understand when this generation has everything they could ever imagine. The world is at their fingertips, and you have an opportunity to talk to kids from all over the world, and you realize how great you have it. What are you possibly rioting about? And some of these people they're so disenfranchised, and they've never had to fight for anything in their life. And I think they're realizing, hey, life is hard. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Life is hard.
My dad always blamed the YMCA for the way the world is today. And he said, think about 1970. The kids that were 5 and 6 years old in 1970, 71, 72, that's people my age. from 52 to about 56. He says that was the first generation. He's right. In 1970, I played this new thing that the YMCA had rolled out called T-ball. It wasn't quite baseball, but it got you ready for baseball. My sister, who was 2 years younger than me, in 1972, she rolled out this game that they would say was going to take America by storm. It would be the number one sport within 10 years. They've said that every year since then. She was playing a game called soccer at the YMCA. And as you know, T-ball and soccer.
1976.
Since you know, T-ball and soccer, everybody got trophies. You got your participation trophy. Well, now the people who got the first to receive participation trophies was my generation, my age group, in the YMCAs of the 70s. Well, they've raised children who are now raising children. So we're 3 generations in of a large group of people that think everybody deserves equality and everybody deserves an equal playing field and there should be no hardships. Everybody should have the same situation, no matter your creed, color, sex, whatever. Everybody should have exactly the same thing. And by the way, if you don't have the same thing, those who have should give to those who have not. Even if they don't want to work for it, you should do that. And my dad squarely, till the day he passed away, blamed the YMCA for all of that. That's
pretty good. I hadn't done the root cause analysis on that, but that's pretty good. I'm not going to argue with it. So my kids. We didn't. When I was out at Oak Griner, and we made a conscious decision that no. Only the first place team gets a trophy. Everybody else gets a medal.
100%.
There has to be a clear-cut definition between who wins and who loses. And I remember having parents being irate, and that some parents went out and bought their child, not the whole team, just their child, a trophy. and I'm like, okay, yeah, those are the same kids. My son is now 19. Those are the kids who are probably out rioting.
With their skateboards trying to knock rubber bullets out of the way. Hey, we're up against the clock here. Tell us where the Bloodmobile is.
Yes, sir. Hey, today we're going to be at the Publix right across the street from Trinity Catholic right there in Grand Oaks Plaza. So please come by, give the gift of life, and donate blood.
You can also go to always to Life South on the Boulevard, correct?
Amen, brother. Yes. Yes, and we're open late this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're open till 7, so please stop by and donate blood.
Well, Galen, we probably will continue to talk about this election till the Supreme Court decides it's over, probably 2-3 weeks from now.
Amy Coney Barrett could become the most important Supreme Court justice in a long, long, long time. Because Roberts is going to vote against the president.
Yeah. Galen from Life South. Thanks, buddy.
All right, my man. Be good. Thanks, y'all.
We'll be right back.
From the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Say Radio News with Lance Pry.
The presidential election has not been determined at this hour. Vice President Mike Pence just after 2 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to join you in thanking more than 60 million Americans who have already cast their vote for 4 more years for President Donald Trump in the White House. And while the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the President said. The right to vote has been at the center of our democracy since the founding of this nation, and we're going to protect the integrity of the vote.
Joe Biden, Tuesday night.
We could know the results as early as tomorrow morning, but it may take a little longer, as I've said all along.